First, going to go over the operation of the panel here and the functions. We have the remote local key switch. This one here, when the key is in the away position to the left, that means you can start and control the pump here. When the key is in the right, that means you control it from your remote location. We have a red warning light. We have a pump running light. We have an eStop. We have a reset button. We have the operator's panel. We have the gauges over here. We have 2 hydraulic pumps down here. And this is the pressure for the first hydraulic pump for number 1. This is the pressure for number 2 hydraulic pump. This is our incoming water pressure from the city water that you would supply. This is our pressure from our booster pump. These are intensifiers for the PRO2 125. They run in series together. Just a little overview here. We have the hydraulic cylinders. You have 2 of those. Proximity switches that control the position of the piston inside there. We have the high pressure cylinders here. We have the hard sealing cap, which has the inlet water check valve and the discharge check valve. Our high pressure lines goes into our attenuator, and it's the same on the other side. And the high pressure lines come out and go down to our dump valve assembly and out to the cutting head. Now we're going to go over the overview of the hydraulic power package for the PRO2 125. We have the 125 horse motor. We have piston pumps in here. This is a Recirculation compensated piston pump. We have 2 of those. We have the compensators for each pump. The ratio from these pumps to the high pressure water is 38.5 to 1, hydraulic over water. We have the proportional valves, which you control the pressure at the panel here, or you can control it through your remote operation panel. We have the directional valve that control the shifting of the cylinders. It gets a signal from the proximity switches on top back to the PLC in order to shift. We have the relief valves back here. They're a safety relief valve, so you won't overpressurize the system. We have 2 of those. We have a recirculation pump. This is what does the cooling for the oil. It takes it through a heat exchanger. You bring your fresh water in from a chiller or incoming water. It goes to the chiller. This pump here circulates the oil through the heat exchanger, back to the filter, and then to the reservoir. The other pump here is a booster pump. This takes your city water pressure. We have to have a minimum of 35 psi. Our pressure switch is set at 30. So you want at least above that so you don't have a low inlet shutdown. There's a booster pump pressure adjustment right here. You can turn it clockwise to increase it, counterclockwise to decrease it. And that pressure should be set to about 125. We also have a low pressure water filter housing here. This is a stainless housing. It gets the water from the booster pump and filters it, and then send it to your top works on top, to your low inlet water lines. Just a little more about our booster pump here. It gets this water through the low pressure water side here, through a strainer, into the booster pump. Goes through the booster pump, up here to a manifold. There is a pressure switch up there. If you get below 60 psi booster pump pressure, the machine will shut down, give you a warning. Here's the adjustment for the booster pump. You take a screwdriver, a flat blade screwdriver, you turn it clockwise to increase the pressure, counterclockwise to decrease the pressure. And remember, we want it about 125 psi. If you get below 60, you'll get a shutdown low booster pressure. This is the bulkhead strip where all the inlet water connections are made and your high pressure connection. The top one here, this one is a drain. If you get water up here on the top, water will drain out of here. This is your high pressure connection from your top works and your attenuator that would feed your cutting head. This one is your air pressure to close the dump valve. This one here is your cooling water out. This one here is your cooling water in. This one's the cutting water in. This one has to be the clean water. And this was the cutting water out. This one is if your booster pump pressure is over 125, there's a relief valve. It will allow water to dump out. Or when you hit your eStop, it will drain the system from the pressure all the way back and dump it out the bottom drain here. Earlier we just went over the overview of the bulkhead strip on the front side here. Now we're going to look at the back side. This is where our drain line comes off for the drip pan. This is a high pressure T that comes from the attenuator through here to your cutting head, your whip out here. This is the dump valve. This is a normally open valve. It gets its air pressure through here. You have to have about 75 to 85 pounds of air pressure to this valve here to keep the dump valve closed. And again, remember to always use genuine KMT parts in all your KMT equipment. This is a modulating valve to modulate the cooling water flow coming out of the machine to regulate it so you don't just waste water. This is your inlet water from your cooling water to your heat exchanger. This is the inlet water solenoid valve. When you pull the reset out, it opens this valve, allows water to flow in. We have a 30 psi switch here. We have a strainer here, and then it feeds your booster pump and your little manifold up there for your top works. And then we have the bottom drain here for the relief valve, overpressurization valve, and the dump valve drain. This is our oil filter assembly. The oil comes from the recirculation pump back through here after it gets cooled, and it filters it, and it goes back in the reservoir. We have a little indicator here if the oil filter is getting dirty. Yellow means it's good. As it gets closer to the red, that means the oil filter should be replaced. It should be replaced about every 1,500 hours or 6 months. This is where we fill the oil at. Since oil containers you get may not be completely clean, you want to make sure you pump it through here. That way it gets filtered as it goes through in there back in your reservoir. They also ship them with a vent in a bag here. You will take the plug out and put the vent in there. They put this plug in here to keep oil from splashing out during shipment. This is our oil temperature and level gauge. Our oil level is right up in here. Usually between the red and the black is pretty good. The oil temperature, if the oil temperature gets about 149 degrees, you'll get a warning light on. The optimal temperature you want is 105 to 115 degrees. And on the back here it tells you the type of oil. We always use a Mobile DT 26 or a Mobile DT heavy medium 68 grade. Right below our filter assembly is a ball valve that you can drain the oil. There's also a plug in it. If you go to drain the oil, be sure to use the transfer pump. Remove the plug, hook your pump in there, open the valve, and you can pump the oil out. And again, remember, pump the oil in through the filter head at the top so we can get a good clean oil before it goes back in the reservoir. This is an overview of our electrical panel. We have the circuit breaker, we have the motor soft start, we have a power supply, we have a relay, we have some more relays here, and we have some of the PLC. Down at the lower end here is where the remote wiring would be connected from operator's panel. At this point, we're going to show you how to change the high pressure seals, the hydraulic seal cartridges, and rebuild the check valves.